Welcome to my Moss mini review. This is a new series where I'm going to try and review games in under 5 minutes. I'm only going to be doing mini reviews for games which don't have a very long playthrough time and save normal reviews for the big games. So you start off Moss in a vast library, which is really impressive when you first get into it due to the scale of it. You are then introduced to the story through a very creative way as you turn the pages in this book as someone narrates over it. This way of telling the story feels very authentic and really grabs your attention. You are then introduced to a young mouse named Quill, who you will be guiding through the world. You are then introduced as the reader. Quill is well aware of you from the start, which is a nice touch. You as the reader are somewhat of a spirit. You appear to Quill as a giant ghostly looking figure. I really like the almost second person aspect of this game, as you are controlling Quill but you're looking through someone else's eyes. You aren't in first person seeing through her eyes, and you aren't in third person looking over her shoulder in a fixed position. It's a really original take on the whole perspective of the character, and I really like it. You as the reader are stationary, but you can reach out and manipulate the environment that Quill is trying to traverse by pulling out platforms, slowing things down, solving puzzles, and many more things. You can even reach out to Quill and hold her in your hand and feel her heartbeat through the controller. The graphics are amazing in this game, as they transport you into this mystical fantasy world. Some of my favourite bits are when you're going through the forest. You look up to the trees towering over you, and you get the sense of scale of how small you actually are. This game's main attraction is the puzzles, in my opinion. They are great. They weren't too hard to the point where you have to look them up, but they are challenging enough to the point where you really have to stop and think about them. The puzzles will have you moving enemies in the environment to get Quill into the next room. I also really like the collectible element in this game as well, as in almost every room and area there is a hidden scroll which you can find. This had me standing up, looking in holes and crevices around the room. It was great, and sometimes quite hard to find and difficult to get to. The combat in Moss is fun. While not being the deepest combat system in the world, it does the job here and feels good. You are equipped with a sword to take down the enemies. I did quite enjoy the dodging mechanic in this game though. You can see when an enemy is charging up an attack, and that gives you a short window to roll out of the way. There are different enemy types in this game. I'm not really sure how to describe them. They're almost a robotic crab looking thing. You have one enemy who tries to claw at you, which can be easily dispatched by a good timed roll and a couple strikes with your sword. There is also a ranged enemy who looks to shoot at you with a projectile that comes out of their claw. There's a mechanical insect looking one, which blows up as they get close to you, and when all these enemies are coming at you at once, it does get a bit hectic and can be quite challenging. There are even some boss fights in this game, which are really fun and keep you on your toes. There are also some different swords to collect along the way, so keep your eye out for them as they can give you different ways to attack your enemies. The story, while only being about 4 hours long, is amazing throughout, as you try to find out what has happened to Quill's uncle Argus, meeting some great characters along the way. The price tag is quite hefty for a 4-hour experience, but this is a must buy for any VR owner. It's a great game if you recently picked up a VR headset, as it doesn't have smooth locomotion in it, so there's no risk of getting motion sickness from it. So to wrap it all up, Moss will definitely appeal to anyone who likes platforming puzzle games, and being in VR elevates this game and makes it feel really special. The ending also sets it up for a sequel, which I can't wait for. So yeah, definitely get this game if you have a VR headset. So just a quick side note, in my first review I didn't really clear up the ranking system, so I'm not going to be giving a set rating to games, as I think it's a bit obsolete now. Everyone's scales are different. Like my 8 might be at someone else's 6. In my opinion, ratings are very subjective. And in my reviews, I just want to provide enough information for you guys to make up your own mind about if you want to play the game or not, while obviously voicing my opinion as well. So thanks guys. Hopefully I've done this in 5 minutes or less. So if you enjoyed, make sure to smash a like down below, comment and subscribe, and also leave me some constructive criticism in the comments below if you don't mind. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.